is up everyone, Fred here from Zealz Gaming, and today we're gonna take a look at the game called Extinction. Extinction is a single-player action-adventure game developed by Iron Galaxy and published by Modus Games. The game is available for PC, PS4 and Xbox One, and if you want to check it out after the video, I'll leave a link in the description below. In Extinction you play as the Sentinel Zealz, who alongside his ally Sandra must find a way to save the kingdom of Dolorum and humanity from the onslaught of the Raveni.
Zealz, did you make it to Dolorum?
Yes. I've almost reached the village of Tablis. You were right, Sandra. This place is completely untouched by the invasion.
The Raveni are gigantic orcs with various armor who you fight with your incredible parkour abilities and mastery of the sword. The concept of the game is quite simple. You enter a level and complete the objectives and the bonus objectives if you're a perfectionist. The manner of these objectives can vary from level to level. In one level you might need to eliminate 4 Raveni as fast as you can, while in the next you need to rescue villagers before the Raveni kills them. The game has 4 different modes you can play: Campaign, Daily Challenge, Extinction Mode and Skirmish. The campaign consists of 7 chapters and took me roughly 7.5 hours to complete. But you can replay the levels that you have already cleared to complete all the bonus objectives if you want to. In Daily Challenge you are thrown into a random map with a random objective and compete against other players to obtain the highest score and take your spot on the leaderboards. Extinction Mode is the same concept as Daily Challenge, except for the fact that it just involves you killing as much as possible without dying. Again, you take your spot on a leaderboard if you're good enough. And finally there's Skirmish Mode, which is a mode in which you compete with your friends and then you check your scores between each other after. When you complete a level you earn a currency called skill points, which can be used to purchase various traits, upgrades for your character and new sword combos. As far as I could see, there was no limit to the amount of traits you could buy, which just makes it one long grind to obtain all of the possible traits. And in the long run there will be no difference from your character and other people who play Extinction's character.
Please be more careful, Zealz.
I found myself having a hard time keeping my interest in the story of the game. It does explain what's going on, but it's just not very detailed, and it has a lot of gaps as well, which is too bad because the voice acting is actually quite alright. If the story was better and more detailed, you would have some characters you could actually be invested in, which in my opinion is essential when you're playing a single player game. Another issue I have with Extinction is the way the levels are set up. The game has a level and objective design from which I could quickly conclude that once you've seen one, you've seen them all. I think that this hurts the replayability factor of the game, which is a big thing in Extinction. The developers want you to return to the chapters and different levels to complete them to their fullest, but I frankly just don't see this happening when all of them look alike. However, a thing that Extinction does a fantastic job of is combat. In Extinction you have a runic sword which you use to slice and dice your opponents with, and dismember giants of course. The only way you can kill these giants is by charging up this sword, which you do by rescuing villagers, kill smaller enemies and removing the giant's armor or cutting off their limbs. When your sword is fully charged, you can then execute a giant, which will reset your runic meter, meaning that you have to recharge it again to execute another giant. To get around the map in Extinction, you use your exceptional sentinel abilities to climb walls, glide, jump on tree canopies, and use your whip, Indiana Jones style. In the beginning the combat can be very confusing to learn, but when you actually start getting a hang of it, it becomes fluent and fast paced. It's exhilarating taking down a giant Raveni and looking badass while doing it. And I like the fact that you have to take a tactical approach to how you move through the map and which giant you focus first, while stalling others by cutting off specific limbs. And the whip that you have is just so awesome. The only small issue I have with the combat is the camera angles. They can be a bit wonky sometimes, which can take the momentum away during a fight, and that was kind of annoying. Now, as I mentioned before, it seems like replaying the levels was the entire concept of the game, and the combat can certainly carry replayability for a while. But after a while, all the Raveni start to look the same, and the way you take them down starts feeling autonomic, because there is a cookie cutter way for eliminating every various type of enemy in Extinction. For me at least, the thrill of the combat stopped carrying the game after I had finished the campaign. I tried the other modes the game had to offer, but they didn't really take. It's just the same thing over and over again. Graphically, the game was good and reminds me a lot of Kingdoms of Amalur, but the problem with the reused level design comes up once again, since that allows for no graphical variation at all. The soundtrack was however good at underlining the constant, intense combat, and it helped me feel like I was actually a giant slayer. Extinction is a game which have focused 100% on the combat element, which leaves it lacking in too many areas that the combat and parkour aspects of the game simply cannot carry. Additionally, the fact that the level design of Extinction is so repetitive and dull really defeats the purpose of playing the same battlegrounds several times. Compared to what you're actually getting, a price of 59.99 euros is simply way too high. However, the combat does carry the game a lot, and it is fun and fluid. So if you're looking for a game where you can fly around and murder endless hordes of monsters with only yourself and your runic sword, then you should check out Extinction. We here at Zealz Gaming give Extinction a 5.5 out of 10. Other than that, I want to thank you for watching, and if you like this video, leave a like and a comment below, or even better, if you like our content, hit that big red subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching.